Okay, get ready to dive into the fascinating world of holistic therapy and coaching. We're exploring this really fun guide that explains everything with a playful, humorous spin. Think of it as a crash course in mindfulness, but taught by your hilarious friend who loves a good analogy.
I'm all for making these kinds of topics more approachable. Sometimes people hear holistic therapy and they imagine something really serious or intimidating. A little humor can help break down those barriers.
Totally. And this guide wastes no time in doing just that. Right off the bat, it compares holistic therapy to a family reunion, the kind with all its quirks and dynamic.
What's fascinating here is the way that analogy highlights a core principle of holistic therapy, treating the whole person. Just like you can't understand a family by only looking at one individual, you can't fully address someone's well-being by focusing on just their physical symptoms or just their emotional state. Everything is connected.
It's like that saying, can't see the forest for the trees. This guide wants us to zoom out and see the whole picture.
Exactly. It even gives the example of chronic back pain potentially stemming from emotional stress. It might sound surprising at first, but when you consider how deeply our mind and body are intertwined, it makes a lot of sense.
Our bodies really do keep score, don't they? It's like our back is saying, hey, pay attention to this emotional stuff. It's literally weighing me down. I think this is where things get really interesting. The guide delves into different professions within holistic therapy, and it does so with these hilarious superhero comparisons.
I'm curious to hear about these holistic superheroes. Which one stood out to you?
Well, there are so many. We've got PNL practitioners as mind hackers, hypnotherapists with potential chicken-related side effects. I'm not making that up. But the one that really made me chuckle was naturopaths, the MacGyvers of natural remedies. I mean, who wouldn't want a wellness expert who can whip up a life-changing elixir from herbs and essential oils?
Okay, so maybe it's not quite as simple as MacGyver disarming a bomb with a paperclip. But the analogy does point to something important about naturopathic medicine. It emphasizes using the body's own healing power by working with nature, not against it.
So instead of just masking symptoms with medication, a naturopath might look for ways to address the root cause through things like nutrition, herbal remedies, or lifestyle changes. It's about treating the whole person, right?
Exactly, and that's a common thread you'll find throughout many holistic approaches. It's not about a quick fix, but about empowering you to make sustainable changes for long-term well-being.
Which makes me think about the skills involved in all of this. The guide actually has a section called Skills, Not Superpowers, but some of these skills sound pretty darn close. They have names like becoming the Sherlock Holmes of coaching and transforming fear into laughter. What do you make of those?
Well, I can assure you there's no actual mind control or fear erasing going on here. But these playful titles do hint at valuable techniques used in holistic practices.
Okay, give me an example. Let's say I'm intrigued by this whole Sherlock Holmes of coaching thing. What does that actually involve?
Think of it as cultivating deep listening skills and learning to ask powerful, insightful questions. A good holistic coach isn't there to tell you what to do. They're there to help you uncover your own wisdom and solutions.
It's like being your own inner detective, uncovering clues about what makes you tick. I like that. But with so many different techniques and approaches, it can feel overwhelming to know where to even start right.
It's true. There's definitely no shortage of options when it comes to holistic therapy, and this guide doesn't shy away from that. It even jokes about navigating a jungle of diplomas and certifications.
Right, which is why it emphasizes the importance of choosing your path carefully and doing your research before jumping into any training program.
It's like planning a trip. You wouldn't just show up at the airport without knowing where you're going or what to expect.
And you definitely want to make sure your tour guide actually knows the territory. The guide stresses the importance of choosing programs led by experienced practitioners, not just someone who slapped together a weekend workshop.
Exactly. It's an investment in your well-being. So you want to make sure you're getting quality guidance from people who've walked the path themselves. What stood out to me was how the guide goes beyond just techniques and certifications. It emphasizes that real transformation happens in the lives of real people.
Yes. And it backs that up with some pretty incredible testimonials. These aren't just vague claims. They're personal stories from people who've experienced firsthand the impact of holistic therapy.
Those stories can be so powerful. It's one thing to hear about the potential benefits, but it's another to hear someone share how these practices have literally changed their lives.
Okay, so get this. There's a story about Raw Flow, a former high-flying marketing executive who decided to completely change her life after this training. She quit her corporate job to pursue her passions with two young kids in tow.
That's amazing. It speaks to the power of holistic therapy to not just help you manage stress or cope with challenges, but to really align with your purpose and create a life that feels authentic.
It's like she found the courage to listen to that inner voice that was being drowned out by the demands of her old life.
And sometimes that's exactly what we need to create space for that inner wisdom to emerge. Remember that woman, Nancy, you mentioned earlier? The guide talks about how this training helped her to support her loved ones in a deeper way.
Yes. Her story really resonated with me because it highlights how personal growth isn't just about you, it ripples out and affects the people around you. There's this anecdote about how she used what she learned to help a friend who was going through a rough patch in his marriage. He later told her that her support was a turning point for him.
It's like that saying, when you heal yourself, you heal the world around you. By doing our own inner work, we naturally show up differently in our relationships and can offer a different quality of presence and support to those we care about.
It's kind of like that ripple effect, you know? When you throw a pebble in a pond, you might not see it immediately, but those waves, they keep traveling outwards. And that kind of gets me thinking about something that often holds people back from, really diving into these practices, that perceived cost.
It's true. Yeah, there can definitely be a financial barrier for some people, especially with certain therapies or training programs.
But what I really appreciated about this guide is its approach to the whole money thing. It's refreshingly honest. It even pokes fun at those pricey training programs that cost an arm and a leg.
I think that's important. While investing in your well-being is so valuable, it shouldn't mean sacrificing your financial security. Plus, there are often other ways to explore these things that are much easier on the wallet.
Exactly. Like the guide really emphasizes that you don't have to drain your bank account to find some peace. It talks about all these alternatives, online resources, books, local workshops, heck, even connecting with practitioners who offer sliding scale fees. It's about making these practices available for everyone, not just a select few, right?
Absolutely. And I think that aligns with the very heart of holistic therapy, empowering individuals to take charge of their own well-being, regardless of their circumstances.
Couldn't agree more. It's about recognizing that we all have this innate ability to heal and grow. Sometimes all we need is a little nudge in the right direction, a little support, or even just a little inspiration to unlock that potential.
Well said. I think this guide provides a fantastic starting point for that journey.
It definitely does. And as we're wrapping up our little deep dive here, I keep coming back to that line about becoming, and I love this visual, the Zen master of your own well-being.
It's a very catchy phrase, but it also rings so true, wouldn't you say? It's
Yeah.
about cultivating that inner peace, that sense of balance, even amidst the craziness of life.
Exactly. So as we leave our listeners to ponder that, I'm curious, what's one thing from this deep dive that really stuck with you? What will you be taking away from this exploration?
I think for me, it's that reminder to approach well-being holistically. It's not just about physical health or just our emotional state. It's about understanding how all these different facets of ourselves, they are all interconnected.
Beautifully said. It's about seeing the whole picture, the whole person. And with that, we'll leave you to continue your exploration of holistic therapy and your own journey toward becoming the Zen master of your well-being. Until next time.